Alright, so I think it may have been a minute since I last checked in. Working on the wiring, peeled it all back, and that was interesting because you get to see kind of how some stuff's wired and how stuff works, and then I'm like, well, okay, well, that was kind of cool. And oh, by the way, I'm a little less scared of wiring now. I'm kind of, oh, these are, your 5 volts, these are your 12 volts, these are your grounds, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you could figure this out. It's not that bad. Didn't need. There's a bunch of little things up here, the IAC and the throttle body position sensor. We didn't need that because we have the drive-by-wire guy. So all that stuff just went back through the firewall. This side, yeah, we just plugged in the sensors that we had. We had some kind of craziness going on with the adapters. We were just going to kind of run it into the jumper plug. All right, sorry. I realized I was doing a really poor job of explaining what I was doing there. So we got the wire in the wire harness that comes from Holley, and it's fine. It functions, and it will get the plugs somewhere in the vicinity of where you need them, but it's kind of off. It's not all that muy bien. So what I did is I just took the harness and just blew it open, put the plugs where I wanted them, and then just kind of work backwards, which is a way to do it. It's not probably the best way, but it is a way. So what we did is we ran all the main wires coming down this tube right here, and then they just branch off to the ethanol content, the fuel pressure sensor, the air temperature, the alternator, the relay triggers, blah 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 blah. And the other side is just a little calmer, drive-by-wire cable. Yeah, and once you peel that wiring harness back, it's not quite as intimidating as you might think it would be. It's pretty straightforward, and you can kind of look at it and reason through it. We got rid of a lot of these plugs that we didn't need. We just direct wired everything in. So I just figured I'd come out here and try to make it cogent. Something with a little less rambling about how he went through that wire and how he ended up. So yeah, that's it. Okay, not sure where I left off. I always like to say that just in case some of you might believe. U-Dog, Bob. U-Dog chases Bob. It's kind of funny.
The sheep herding pit bull. Get him out of here, Benny. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Come on. Good girl.
Success. All right, so we got this thing. All the wires in the engine bay are done. So we got all the wires. They were just everywhere. And we had things we didn't need. It was just a gigantic disaster here in the engine bay. As you can recall, maybe I'll put up a screenshot. And then we just basically peeled the entire loom back. So everything went back. We got all the loom off of it and just had the wires out. So we could just see like the wire barf on top of the engine. And from there, we just started taking it from sensor to sensor, and just following the lines back and routing them properly. And this is the finished product. I also took the ins and outs that we had and just kind of left them right underneath that little shiny spot right there above the brake booster. I think we still have 2 ins and 3 outs to use, so we can use those for whatever we want to in the future. Over here we took the all the stuff that was on the throttle body, the throttle position sensor, the IAC, and whatever that stuff, and we just puked it right back through the firewall. We moved the map sensor back to where it belonged because it was like way up here, which great. Anyway, and then we placed the sensors for the coolant temperature, the alternator, live wire. There's another one over here somewhere, I think. Oh yeah, the flex fuel, the fuel pressure. And then in the back, what do we got on there? The cam and the oil pressure, sensors and a map sensor, so they're all squared away. We got the we had a lot of lead on the wideband. We just took it and threw it over there, and it's kind of looped so it goes back, and it's got heat shielding and all that. We located the ignition wires for the ignition, and we tied those into the starter, and everything is wired. We have our fuse relay guy over here, and everything in here is just buttoned up. I can't really think of anything else I need to do except like make a catch can and an intake pipe. That was our other sensor, was our air temperature sensor, which will go right here, but we just have nothing to plug it into right now. So it is nice and tidied up and pushed back through the firewall. It looks like a wiring factory got hit by a tornado on the inside of the car, but we're not worried about that. We're just worried about this and just basking in everything is done and hooked up here where it needs to be. But that means that we are done with all the stuff we're going to need for the interior. See the wire factory tornado victim here? Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll get through it. We got through the inside, or we got through the engine bay. We'll get through this part, I assure you. But that means that all the interior can start going back in. So we can go ahead and start setting that up and looking at how everything's going to fit in here, the adapters we need to make to get our air conditioner vents tied into the vents on our dash that already exists, etc. But we can do it for good. So once we get into here, starting tomorrow, we're going to finish out sorting the wires, and then I can get the dash up and we can start looking like, where are we going to place the computer, where are we going to place the fuse panel, the evap. We know where it's going, but we got to run those hoses, etc. So all this is going to we're just going to start massaging this out and building it like it is going to be done for good, because it will be the last time that we're doing all of this. So that's exciting, and I'm waiting on my dash to come in. I ordered it from Devin Vanendorf. Makes great tuning videos and how to wire stuff videos and stuff, because I figured why not support the small business guy like Monkey Fab Garage, monkeyfabgarage.com. And yeah, so he's getting me a 6.8 digital dash, Pro Dash, to fit inside the console. I love those. I'm so used to it now from driving the Phoenix around that I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do it. It's another $1,000, but it makes everything nice, and it's so much easier, and everything goes right into your dash, so you don't have to worry about integrating old stuff, blah 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 blah. Yeah, super excited to get here. We just got to knock those little last pieces out, and yeah, it just took a lot longer than I anticipated. I thought this was, by the time I got the exhaust stuff done, I was like, wow, that was all the big fabrication bits. How hard can it be? And like, what, 2 months later or whatever, here we are.